What's up, guys? Welcome to the Man in the Middle show with Kevin and Joe. That is Joe. I am Kevin, and we have a lot to cover today. We're excited to be back together for this episode, and we're going to start with a recording I heard recently from Alan Watts. I immediately sent it to Joe. It was one of those moments where you hear something or read something that summarizes what you're experiencing in a way like nothing else could. And it's again one of those moments where you go, oh, I'm not going crazy. I'm not going crazy. There's something behind this. And Joe and I are both going to talk about how it's been manifesting for each of us. So let me just read the opening paragraph of this, what is in audio form, about 16 minutes. The YouTube video that I found and sent to Joe is labeled "Why a Chosen Man Always Walks Alone." And here's how it starts. When a man starts to wake up, he naturally pulls away from the crowd, not because he hates people, but because the usual way of connecting stops making sense. Most conversations revolve around status, gossip, or complaints. And once he begins to see through that, it gets harder to engage. He's not bitter. He's not isolating himself out of pride. He's just stopped chasing what others are still chasing. Whew. Joe, there's a lot just in that. And the thing that I love about this whole piece is that Watts continuously points out he's not doing this because he wants to be different or has a bigger ego or thinks he's better, and all your small talk is wearing him out, although it does feel that way. It's an awakening and awareness of things just start to look a little silly, and you really long for deeper rumination and conversation.
Yeah, I think I would suggest anyone have a listen to this lecture from Alan Watts. Well, first of all, if you're not listening to Alan Watts, obviously you should start
Yeah.
because he's was a brilliant orator and his lectures are incredibly deep. This one obviously hit home with Kevin and I enough to create an entire episode around it and read it on air, right? Like, but nothing has ever articulated exactly what Kevin and I are going through better than this. And so there's been, and Kevin, you may have done this as well, but there's select people in my circle that like I have these types of discussions and conversations with, and I shared this with them and they
Mhm.
listened to it and they were just like, this is out of this world. You know, I had
Yeah.
a couple of guys tell me like, holy cow, man, I feel real. Like one guy told me, my buddy Mark Welly goes, man, I feel really seen right now.
Yeah. That's what
Like
it is.
someone knows exactly what's going on within me.
Yeah.
And so, and again, like one of the big things that, um, Carl Jung talked about was that like loneliness does not come from not having people around you, but being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you.
Yeah.
Right. So I know you and I have both kind of gone through this journey of withdrawing. And
Yeah.
for two guys that are going to be on the dance floor when the music plays, they're going to be holding the microphone if there's a chance to talk. They're going to be the guy that will take the lead on something just to drive it through. So those people in our life, when we're withdrawing like that, it's very upsetting.
Yeah.
Like, yo, what's going on with
Yeah.
this guy?
Understandably, they think something
Yep.
is amiss.
Mm-hmm.
It's that weird supplement you've been taking. You need to stop that. You back off of the testosterone shots, my man.
Yeah.
Uh, I think it's worth pointing out too, Joe, that this came out. He probably wrote this in the '60s, mid '60s somewhere, right? Maybe early '70s. So this is before all the technology and all the new things that have made us feel more isolated and less connected, ironically, right? And so this is a part of the human condition. And um so it hasn't changed. And it just gives it to me a little more. And of course, we go back to Young, and that's been around for so long. So none of this is new, but because we're so connected and we have this sort of like our life is always on display. We're talking to a lot of people. Like you said, we're the kind of people who can naturally lead or can own the room if we need to, so to speak. And I think people who don't have these moments, these awakenings, think that, oh man, if you can do that, then you can do anything. Like you never suffer. You're like extroverts, like true extroverts seem that way. Like, man, I don't, there's this guy at the gym. He's the most social guy I've ever seen in my life. You know, he just knows everybody. He's always talking to everybody. He has endless energy. And I just think, I don't think this guy's ever sad. Does he go home and just cry in his pillow at some point because he spent all the, or is he just constantly calling and texting people because he needs that stimulation for, I just don't, I don't understand it. And so part of it is just not judging how you process things and where your energy comes from and how you
Right.
spend it, and
Right.
just recognizing it instead.
Well, he remember I was telling you before about the Winnie the Pooh analogy. He's a Tigger.
He's a Tigger, right?
He's a Tigger, you know what I mean? So
100%.
like hopefully again, we don't see behind closed doors, but you just know those people that you have in your life where they're just kind of always on fire,
Yeah.
and again, like that's a disposition, but thank God the whole world isn't full of all Tigers, right? It'd be pretty exhausting.
Chaos. Yeah.
So yeah, but I think the other thing that is very powerful that you and I have been discussing is that it's very important for not only you and myself, um, but to realize like why you're doing something or why something's happening, right? So like you were saying, as I brought up, hey, we'll take the microphone, we'll take the lead, we'll go do the dance. And like before, I used to do those things and was wired to do those things because then I was enough to everyone that was there,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
right? Because that was like my household. My father was an entertainer. There was always a show going on, right? And so it's like, as long as I'm getting attention, then I'm getting what I need. And then you will see that I'm just as great as I think I am as well, right?
Right.
And in
Yeah.
my own mind, right?
Yeah.
But actually, it was coming from a place of lack because I had to do that in order to be okay with me,
Yeah.
right? And so now when I'm in those situations, I'm showing up just who I am.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm not the one with the microphone.
Yeah.
And I'm not sitting there like off stage thinking that I should be the one with the
Yeah.
microphone. Right.
Right.
Or so again, like all of this stuff is an evolution and things change. And I think what hit me so hard, again, when you're reading it again, I just love listening to it, is that it's not because he hates people,
Right.
but because the usual way of connecting stops making sense. Right. And so I think the biggest thing for me is that, and what is weaved through all of what we're talking about in season one, season two, and we always will, because it's the call of midlife is I want more meaning. I
Yeah.
want, and it's like you are very aware that time is running out.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't want to waste a second talking about this
Yeah.
nonsense. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, and like, I think, what was that, 2 weeks ago? I called you, it was like, I had this pinnacle, this zenith of spiritual, I don't like the word enlightenment, but just spiritual condition to where this peak happened. And I was more full than I've ever been in my whole life after 16 and a half years of really doing this. So it was like this huge breakthrough, right?
Yeah. Right. Felt you'd arrived at some extra level of meaning or fulfillment.
Yeah, and it wasn't, I don't know if it was really like an arrival. Like it didn't feel like that. It was more so of like, well, this is everything that you've been working towards and looking inward towards to having this awakening.
Mm-hmm.
And then for 2 weeks, I felt the depths of an emptiness I haven't felt in probably, oh, it's been well over a decade. It's
Wow.
been a long time, bro. Like
Mm-hmm.
probably even before I got sober. Like that's how empty
Wow.
it was,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
And so, and it's so like, and that's why I called you and I called other people because I knew it wasn't going to last forever, but I wanted to share with people about where I was really at of what it was I was experiencing because it's not anything that I had ever experienced
Yeah.
before. Of course, researching all of young Ian's work, I like that's actually what's supposed to happen. So I didn't even know that. I'm like reading this, I'm like, oh, this is what this is. Okay,
Yeah.
right. So it's like at least you have a intellectual understanding of what's going on, but it's not like it changed the way that you felt. It just
Right.
had to pass. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
but then what surfaced for me within that was then just a leveling out of
Mm-hmm.
like, man, you're good. You're
Mm-hmm.
always going to be good. And that lie that you never will be and you ever weren't is a lie, you
Yeah.
know? So it just reinforced more and more what we're talking about here in terms of like, I'm not in the business of like just talking about the weather, man. I'm just not
Yeah.
that guy, you know?
Yeah. And even just the next paragraph is worth reading because again, it specifically what you were saying about performance. He says he starts to notice the performance in everyday interaction, the need to be liked, to belong, to say the right thing. And without making a big deal about it, he quietly steps back. People might still wave, they might still offer small talk, but the connection is no longer there because it was never real to begin with. Whoa. And I think that's kind of the what makes it a bigger deal than a week where you felt a little disconnected. You're going, no, there's something, I'm seeing something that's making me question most of the talking I've done up until this point in the conversations. Again, not that those aren't valuable and just the pure connectivity of small talk and things um, are important. One thing I'm learning, Joe, in this time of kind of isolation, and by isolation, I don't mean I'm not talking to anybody. I just mean that I'm on my own schedule, right? For the first time in 30 years or so, I'm responsible for every meal I consume. I'm making all those decisions. I'm in the rhythm of taking care of myself every day. There's no one
Yeah.
else, and
You're a big
um,
boy now.
I'm a big boy now.
You're a big boy.
Well, it is like going back to before I was married because that's how I was living. I might have had a roommate or something, but man, you forget what it's like to be in charge of your own self when you were part of a structure that meals would just appear, or the decision around food was not solely yours. Uh, what I don't know if I've told you this, Joe. One of the measurements I have for how long it takes, what the process is like of sort of this transition is Dawn dish soap. Because if you're alone and you're doing your dishes every day, it's going to take you about 3 months to go through a big bottle of dish soap. And every time I get to the end of a bottle of dish soap and have to go buy a new one, it's been about 3.5 months. And I go, wow, I remember when I bought this and how different I felt, like how scary things were, and now I'm on the second one and it's just a weird measuring stick.
What a benchmark, though, man. That's very great awareness there.
Yeah. And I just bought my fifth bottle of Dawn dishwashing liquid, and I'm a completely of a completely different mindset than I was on that first one. And
Oh,
so
dude, it's profound, the growth. Yeah.
it's wild. It's wild. And you know, uh, it's scary, man. The thing I want to really get across to people is when you're feeling the way, when you called me, I knew exactly how you were feeling, and it made me nervous for you because I know, if the feeling I get when I'm in that mode of real detachment and I can't seem to break through it is, what do I care about and what's this all about? And a bit of hopelessness can set in. I didn't get that you were having that. You're so tough. You kind of just always like, nah, I'm just going through it. And like you said, I almost wanted to just tell you so we could document the experience. But um, for me, it's like it's kind of one of the scariest times for men when there's everything around them within reach of them that should fulfill them, and none of it is giving them that feeling.
Yeah, and I think the biggest, yeah, that's very well said. And there was a spot of hopelessness, you know. There was a spot of that, right? Uh, but being a man that is fully integrated, um, I sat with it, man. I just sat with it. It was just something that I was experiencing and that it was happening through me and it wasn't happening to me.
Yeah.
And that's very cliche, but the reality is that like you just said, like you went through it. We all go through that.
Yeah.
It's a part of life. The ego wants you to believe that you're the only person on the planet that's experiencing this right here, right now. And you need to be afraid and you need to take back control and you need to do all these things to fix it because
Yeah.
you just, I'm not that, dude. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not that. I'm the guy that's sitting there saying, well, what is this teaching me about myself? Why did
Mm-hmm.
this happen? Why is this happening? Okay. What thoughts are surfacing? What
Yeah.
emotions are surfacing? Okay, great. Let's sit with that.
Yeah.
And in the back of my mind, I had the deep belief that it wasn't going to be forever, but I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to capture it
Yeah.
for learning,
Yeah.
learning about life, learning about myself. And that's the most valuable information to me,
Yeah.
right? Because for two reasons. One, of course, I took action and looked up young stuff. And then it was like, oh, yeah, this happens to everybody that is on this type of spiritual journey that reaches a spiritual experience with a breakthrough like this, that once you get to the other side, there's a void. Okay. So
Right.
it's normal,
Yeah.
right? But it's on the godly plane, not the worldly plane that we live in, right?
Right. Right.
And then two is, well, anytime you go through something like that, it's only going to be a matter of time before someone shows up in my life that's having that similar experience. And I can sit with them and share with them about my experience and be of maximum service to them and make sure that they don't feel alone, just like you've done with me here. Right. So, just
Mm-hmm.
like I did with you that started this whole thing, like it's a very,
Right.
and within that, that's the type of connections that I want to have.
Yeah.
That's
Mm.
the type of thing that
Yeah.
I don't want to stop in my
Yeah.
life, right? Because it's like, let's talk about what's really going on,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And so that's why I'm so open with like just sharing with people where I'm at because it's like, dude, it's okay to not be okay. Everything
Yeah.
else other than that is just a lie that like you're supposed to be grinding, you're not supposed to be doing anything other than being right where you're at in the present moment,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And the cliche that's really true that this comes up in relationship struggles a lot. It's like men just want to fix everything. Well, yeah, we do, because it's kind of what we were told our job is.
Yeah.
There's a problem, make it go away or get to some resolution, and then we can move on. And so we do that with ourselves as well. And just like in with our significant others, there's one of three conversations they're trying to have with you. Do they need to be helped, heard, or hugged? And it sounds to me, Joe, you took that same approach to this. You're like, I'm not going to try to fix this by tomorrow because it's messing me up and I can't focus on my work like I was or whatever. You were like, something's happening here. The way I'm going to lean into fixing it is first to try to understand it, make sure it's something I can recognize and other people have experienced. And again, that's why Young's teachings and Watts' stuff is so profound, because they not only understood it, they were able to put words to it that are beautiful and profound and right on target. And you're like, it gives you that release. And that's the whole point of this show is to just, if a guy's having these things and he's just trying to fix or he's stuffing it away, man, it's not part of the game. It's got to be dealt with. It's at least got to be understood. And what you'll often find, like Joe pointed out, is it just takes a minute. It's totally normal. It means something bigger. But Joe, when this happened to you in the midst of doing one of the biggest things you've ever done.
Dude, I know the timing was
You
wild.
feel that's connected with the triathlon, or just coincidentally happened at the same time?
Honestly, man, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even I didn't
And
even
maybe,
put those two things together until you just said it right now.
well,
Um,
remind everybody about this incredible
yeah,
challenge
so
you're
as
doing.
you know, I've been training for triathlons for 9 months since the beginning of January 2025. My race in Augusta was on September 28th. So we don't know when we're releasing this episode, but you guys will hear it when you hear it. But September 28th, I did a half Ironman 70.3 in Augusta. It was a 1.2 mile swim, a 56-mile bike, and a 13.1 mile run. So a half marathon at the end. So,
Wow.
and so a lot of what Kevin and I have been talking about, and something that I shared with him, is that this whole pulling away from the performance and getting into some real solitude, uh, this training has been a big part of that for me because I train between 12 and 18 hours a week by myself, either in a pool, which is very quiet, on a bike, or while you're running. And so, I did the whole thing. I finished in 6 hours and 37 minutes. So I never thought I'd ever do that much cardio in a row in my life. But, um, you know, all just as the kids say today, raw dogging it, man. Just
Yeah.
my own thoughts, my own mind, my own performance, my own one step in front of the other. And it's been one of the most invigorating things in my life, man. I just enjoy it so much because it's also I like it a lot too because you can't fake it, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You can't fake the training. You can't
Mm-hmm.
fake showing up for that race and finishing that race. You
Yeah.
cannot fake it. And in a world where we don't like with the videos that are coming out now with
Yeah.
Sora 2, it's like,
Yeah.
we're not going to be able to tell what's real and what's not anymore pretty soon.
Right. Yep.
But this is real. And like I was telling you before, it's been an unintended consequence is just kind of online and in my life. People have really kind of just been an outpouring of love and recognition and cheering it on, like a bright light in all of the darkness that's happening right now, of like, man, this guy's doing something big and real. Like, we know it's
Mm.
real, right? So we want to celebrate what's real.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think one of the things that's important is we deep down, all of us want to really honor the excellence of discipline.
Yep.
Like when you do something that you know is a very small percentage of people on the planet have done it, people like that, man.
Yeah.
Because it's like, man, it's it's one of those things where it can be, I don't know, inspiring or whatever. And again,
Yeah.
that's I'm not I haven't done all of this for an applause. I do most of it in my garage by myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or in a pool. So
Yeah.
um, that's just an unintended
Well,
consequence that came out.
it is. But I think there's a couple things worth unpacking in that. You know, when I would always see that is when I would put on an event. It was always amazing how many people would come out of the woodwork who weren't attending or couldn't attend, or even people that when they did reach out and just to say, man, so this event looks amazing. And I'd be like, oh man, I should ask them to speak. Like I didn't even know they were on the radar.
Yeah.
But the point being is like you said, why do people do that? Well, part of it is surface level. Oh, they're doing cool stuff. I need to remind them. I just want to congratulate them. And it's kind of a peer level fist bump, right? That's maybe a little ego induced, which is fine. But the other part of it, like you said, is like, wow, this person's doing something big and scary. And especially for people who have done similar things that are big and scary, it's like respect for doing that. And I love what you said about particularly athletics now. It's like the one of the few real things left. And of course, you can fake videos or whatever. I happened across this thing yesterday that really interested me. It was a video sponsored by Dick's Sports, and it's a thing called Speed Goes Pro. And it's this athlete named Speed. I'd never heard of him, but he's NFL level capable, trains like an animal. And they hired Tom Brady to uh, throw passes. His goal is to be a cornerback, which is the hardest position in the NFL, right? And he wanted to see if he could stop Brady and Amendola from making a touchdown. Never played in the NFL, and so it's just pretty cool that you can make some. And I'm watching Brady and Amendola kind of really kiss this guy's ass. And I thought, I don't know if you can pay Tom Brady enough to spend a whole day with a guy helping him train and challenging him at the most elite level ever in football and kiss his ass. I don't know what that would cost. So something about this guy made Brady and these other people go, wow. And the cool thing I want to point out, he did all the Columbine tests. He had a 40-inch vertical. And Brady was standing there and he's like, wow, dude. He goes, that's like 1% of the 1%, 40-inch vertical, right? And so what struck me about it goes back to what you're saying about athletics in particular, is like it needed to be the 10 or 15, 20-minute video it was. I sat there and watched the whole thing. It was well produced. But I had no doubt in my mind that this guy was for real. And they legitimized it with elite players. And I thought, and the kid was super cocky, super not a likable guy necessarily, but but that's the kind of mindset it takes to perform at that level. This guy had zero doubt that he was gonna succeed. And then at the end, he says, all right, Tom, final question. He's like, am I qualified to play in the NFL? And Brady's like, yeah, you are. You are. Total undrafted free agent. So it'll be really cool if this guy actually lands on a team and can become something, because he did it. He took a media door into the side of it. That's really interesting about the time we're in now. People are used to seeing, and we've been seeing for years, a clip of a guy throwing a ball and it goes like 200 yards and you're like, what? And then people start, it's fake. It's fake. Oh, damn it. Right. You need to see the sweat. You need to see the feet pounding on the cement. You need to see the guy almost drowning in the pool because he, pushed himself too far. And the fact that you shared that journey as you went, like you said, maybe it appeased some level of ego and gave you dopamine drips. But the real reason was because if you don't show it, people don't believe it anymore.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that that dude is his name is I Show Speed.
Okay.
He's like one of the biggest streamers in the world.
Okay. Okay.
So he's been doing this thing where, and I have a 16-year-old son, so I'm maybe a little bit more in the know than you
Yeah.
are, right? Your
Sure.
boy's already in his 20s, and but
Yeah.
he, I mean, he has like a huge YouTube channel, a huge like Twitch channel.
Okay. So that's what I saw. I wondered that because I thought that's
Yeah.
one other reason guys like Brady would really chum up to this
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
It's a lot
Attention.
of new likes for him.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely
Okay.
a shared experience for them both, right? Like that guy's coming to the table with more eyeballs than Brady could imagine, you know.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Even
bro.
Brady. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I Show Speed has billions of views on his YouTube.
Interesting. See, my
Billions with a B.
in my first look at him ever, and I follow football on YouTube and things, and somehow it just that's and so is it all legit? Is he really trying to get into the NFL?
I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to check it out, but
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Interesting.
I think it's more marketing.
Yeah. Wow. And that's something. I mean, the guy was elite. There was no faking it. Like he's a
Oh yeah,
crazy
bro.
like, athlete, right?
He's like a track star sprinter fast, you know?
Yeah. He
Oh
ran
yeah.
a he got down to 4.459 or
Yeah, that's
4.495.
blazing fast,
And
bro.
if you're under 4.5, it's like that's
Yeah.
rare even in the
Elite.
NFL. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's real, bro.
That's
You,
cool.
you know,
Um,
one of the things that I was going to bring up too, and I know we're kind of like just checking through this Alan Watts video. And I wanted to read the next part because it ties on to what we were doing, and then we can kind of go out from here. But he
yeah.
says he didn't cut ties, he didn't burn bridges. He simply stopped pretending. And when he does that, distance happens on its own.
Mm.
This is the beginning of solitude, not loneliness, just space between who he used to be and who he's becoming. He starts to see clearly what holds people together isn't real. It's not depth.
And then
And
he's
when
yeah.
I think about like this year, bro,
Hmm.
nothing could be more truthful than that. And
And
I
then the
think, sorry, go ahead.
and I just want to read the line after that.
Yeah.
It's not depth, it's not truth, it's habit, comfort, and shared illusions,
Oh, yeah.
which I think is the full manifestation of what you're realizing in those moments. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to
Yeah, and again, next sentence is people bond over complaining about their jobs, over chasing status, over defending ideas. So ones that they've never truly questioned, right?
right.
So it's like it's almost like this thing that's going around now, like trauma bonding. It's like all these sick
Yeah.
people that just get together and like they have this, oh, we're victims together. You know, there's tons
Yeah.
of that. But it's like I think that that was so hard hitting for me because like there's a large amount of pain involved in what Hollis talks about, that you build up the first part of your life building the ego,
Yep.
and then the second adulthood is, you know, moving away from it, right, and
Yep.
having it die. And so I think the biggest thing for me is that I've had to, let me say it a different way, Kevin, so that
Hmm.
I can clearly articulate it. I've
Hmm.
had to very much observe myself in situations when I know everything that's going on around me is just an absolute show.
Hmm.
For me, it's taken some energy for me to not just like blow it up. because of my personality, I'm just like, I'll just get in there and like beat everybody out of here.
Yeah.
And so, and I'll give you an example, bro. I'll give you a clear example. It happened in the car when we were driving to my niece's wedding. I went up to Augusta 2 weeks in a row, 2 weekends in a row. So this one was with my wife, my kids, and my mom. And we made the decision for Violet's first birthday to not have any gifts.
Hmm.
If they want to give anything, they can give to a charity that we've put on the invite, or they can donate or they can give to Violet's investment fund.
Yeah. Great.
She doesn't need any more stuff.
Right.
Right. And so my wife and I were going back and forth about like how we're going to handle that. And I said, "What do you mean how we're going to handle that? It's just we're not going to accept it." "Well, what if somebody brings something?" "I'll tell them to go put it back in their car." "Oh, you can't do that. That'll be mean." "Okay, then I'll tell them to put it right by the door and we'll donate it." It's not coming to us. I said, our child is incredibly blessed with two loving, abundant parents. We clearly stated on the invite, we're not accepting gifts. If someone brings a gift, it's for them. It's not
Yeah.
for us.
Wow.
And I'm not here. "Well, I just wanted to get the,
Yeah.
well, I just thought she could." I'm done pretending, bro, and I'm going to stop continuing to fuel this consumeristic nonsense that's going on right now, right? It's killing our children. They want the new thing over and over and over again, and they don't ever use what they actually have,
Yeah.
right? And so, again, um, I handle that stuff very direct and firm, and
Yep.
that ruffles feathers, and some people take that a certain way, and it's like, hey,
Yeah.
well, you know what? When you're breaking patterns of illusion that are cultural and generational and habit and comfort, like it's painful,
Yeah. Scary for them. But this is
bro.
what I understand. This is
Th-
the
th-
equation. I brought this. Isn't this nice of me? And everybody goes, "Ooh, oh, wow, that's great." And you get a thank you note, and you've completed the understood process of showing up for somebody's birthday. And
that
you're
was all created by marketers to sell
right.
stuff.
Yeah.
How do
Uh,
we know? Because we're marketers.
dude, I got a quick aside. I've been reading Propaganda by Bill Bernays. You know this book?
Oh, dude, I bet that's good.
1928. This is who Bernays was. First of all, he was in charge of all the government's messaging around World War One. He sold World War One to people. Then when he went into marketing, the tobacco companies like, you know what the problem is? Women don't smoke. We need women to start smoking. So he goes, okay. He staged an event where during like a big parade, he hired these women to walk around smoking so that people would take pictures, and that he was normalizing it. And he said, not only are women, is it okay for women to smoke? It's a feminist statement. He called the cigarettes torches of freedom.
Wow.
How good is that? Now, it's evil and it's all those things. It's brilliant marketing,
Of course it
right?
is. That's why it worked.
He's also the guy who introduced bacon and eggs as a healthy breakfast to start your day. And he got doctors like to sign on with it, right? That breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and bacon and eggs, lots of protein. And so the consumerism, that idea of it all, in around the holidays, the question I always hated the most when I was sort of a part of that structure. What do you want for your birthday? What do you want for Christmas? What do you want for, what do I want? I want, if you're going to do anything, to, I don't know, write me a note, write me a letter,
Yep.
or I want a moment, a connection to feel like you're glad I'm alive and it's my birthday, and let's say, hey, we're glad you're here. These are some awesome things you do. Not sing the song and blah blah blah. Now, people I was at the restaurant the other night, and there was a table of folks my age or older, and the woman's wearing a tiara. It's her birthday. It's fine. They're having a good time. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's because of the social network effect that we always need to find these moments to feel important. People put, I don't know, older people who put like a ton of emphasis on their birthday. It's just is weird to me. It just feels like a very surface level grab at attention. And when people I don't know, I'm being cynical. This is where it starts to turn cynical for me. I just see
Dude, you
people
know what they
having
do in Spain? You know what Spanish culture is? When it's your birthday, you pay for everyone when you go out to eat.
thank you. That's the way it should be. You okay,
Because
you
you're
feel
grateful. You're
you're
grateful to be
grateful and you're
alive
throwing,
another day.
yeah, I want you around me. That's all I
Yeah.
want. Come
Yeah.
celebrate with me. It's
Yeah,
yeah.
and you know what's really cool, man? My sister-in-law brought this up this year to me and Allie, and we loved it. And she said, let's not give any of the kids gift from each other this year. Let's do a shared experience together and go do something together.
It's the best.
Create memories. And I said, I'm down with that. Glad you're on board with that. We're doing that. Cause it's like, because here's the thing. Oh man, I forgot to get a gift. We're stopping by Publix. On the way there, we get the card and we got to get the
Ugh.
gift card for, and it's just like, it just like, ugh, you know?
Dude, I'll tell you what's funny because I'm on the other side of this now. Michelle and I just sold the house. And so
Congrats.
thanks, man. And um I could go on a lot about what it's been a very gratifying month or so because her and I are getting along very well and working together. And there were several times over the last few weeks where all four of us were together in the house getting it cleaned out and ready and all that. And it just, on a side note about the separation and all that, it was incredibly gratifying for me, for us all to be in a room together, and it felt the same. It felt like old times.
Mm.
The jokes were
Oh, that's the best.
the jokes were flying, and the memories, and we're laughing, and there was just no weirdness. And I finally felt like it was full circle of, because kids process in their own way, they don't always want to verbalize, and I could just feel that this was probably a moment where it was like, okay, if they needed to breathe, they can breathe. Like
Yeah,
everything's
they got to take a breath. Yep.
everything's okay. But Michelle said to me several times, she must have made 25 trips to Goodwill, just donating stuff. That was in the
Wow.
garage, that was in the attic, that was in closets. And
All that stuff.
she said, were we hoarders? Why did we save all this stuff? And I said, well, you got to remember, we're ending a life, or closing a chapter on a life of school papers and things that when they're happening and kids are young, it feels like, oh, we're definitely going to want this. We're going to frame this one day, or they'll love to see this. And some of that's true, but really it's like a 2 minute thing. It's important to have those things around, but the only time you ever see them is when you move again. And we just carry this stuff around. There are ways now, by the way, there's a really cool service where you can send them all your stuff and they'll digitize it. They'll create digital files of all your pictures and all, so at least you have some form of them, right? Point being, that's all the commercialism. Times when you've had more money and then you have less money, and you start to look at the things you acquired when you had an excess of cash, and you go, that's still in the box. Why did I buy that? Why do I have three of those? I forgot I bought it twice and bought it again. This just kind of consumer access. And like you said, we're marketers. So we kind of need people to make buying decisions. It's sort of our job. But uh, when you, I think all of that adds up to these moments feeling more heavy when we do look back. It's not just the conversations and the things that Watts is mentioning directly. It's the whole social activity of having things and getting things and showing other people the things you have that feel so empty. And that's why I love what you did with the birthday. And it is going to upset some people. But the other part of it is you're having this willingness to say, maybe it makes you awkward because you've never done it this way before. But at the end of the party, hopefully you'll see like, oh, this was fine. And maybe you'll feel a little less inclined to have to pull over and stick the gift certificate in the car that, oh, that's another thing that sparked that whole thought. Michelle found like a stack of unused gift cards over the years. She's like, wow, I've got like $50 at Target. And I mean, I'm like, we never even, they just went in the drawer.
Yep.
Not a gift. It's an obligation. That's the difference.
Exactly. Exactly. Feel obligated, right? So, well, I'll be the first to say what an incredible journey that's been. And it makes me so happy to hear how that's going. And
Yeah,
that's a
thank you, brother.
wonderful part of doing the work, you know? And so, as we wrap things up, guys, one of the biggest things that why Kevin and I wanted to discuss this topic today is because maybe you are right now on the way of waking up and you
Yeah,
are on that path and you are beginning to pull away and you need somebody to tell you that it's okay. So, from Kevin and I, we're here to tell you it's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. But this is one of the necessary things when you begin to move into the second adulthood and have a deep, deep search for meaning in your life and allow things to unfold for you to become who it is that you are supposed to be. Right. That
exactly.
and that's what's most important. So, any last thoughts, Kevin? And then I can close
Yeah,
this out.
just what you said that this is where faith comes in. I think, Joe, in yourself and your higher power and the journey, that lying space between who he used to be and who he's becoming. You have to trust and believe that this is all for a reason and there's something on the other side. The bitch of it, as we often point out, is there's no promise or indication or script for what that's supposed to be or look like. And that's where faith comes in. Faith is what keeps you going through the unknown in the belief that there's something better on the other side. And so research that, trust that, be introspective about that, and try to not have expectations around it.
Love it, dude. Like always, Kevin and I are not therapists, psychologists, or doctors. We're just two guys experiencing midlife in our own way and having a shared experience together, coming together to have those conversations openly with you guys. So hopefully you begin to start having conversations with other men in your life so that way we can continue battling against what we know is a really rough time for men in terms of the life journey. The statistics certainly show that. So one of the things that's very important is that, hey, if you know somebody that would benefit from listening to a show like this, share it with them. You know, if you feel inclined to, we'd love to have you subscribe and review, rate and review the podcast as well. We'd also love to hear from you. As you guys know, Kevin is an incredible writer, and every episode comes with its own newsletter attached to it as well. You can sign up for our Substack at maninthemiddleshow.com. And we look forward to continuing this journey with you guys and keep on plugging. So if you need anything, you obviously can reach out to Kevin and I on socials as well. And we look forward to continuing this journey together. Take care,
Thank you.
guys.